A single dollar a day is the raw material required to build a massive fortune over a lifetime. We are conditioned to view a $1 bill as pocket change, something to be casually spent or discarded. But treating that dollar as insignificant is the equivalent of actively stealing from your own future. The human brain struggles to comprehend how small numbers scale. We assume that building real wealth requires a massive inheritance, a sudden windfall, or a lottery-style payout. A close look at the data reveals a different reality. High net worth is rarely the result of a single massive event. It is the byproduct of relentless, microscopic daily decisions that most of us are wired to ignore. To see exactly how this mathematical reality plays out, we can run a 50-year simulation using two identical subjects. We will call them Alex and Ben. They share the exact same starting parameters: same age, same income, same expenses. The only variable separating them is how they treat one extra dollar every day. Alex decides to spend his. Ben decides to invest his. We start the clock, letting this single choice compound over the next 50 years. That isolated, seemingly insignificant difference in their daily routine will eventually fracture their identical starting points into two radically incompatible financial realities. The mechanism driving Ben's simulation is compound interest. It is the process of earning a return not just on the initial capital, but on the accumulated returns from previous periods. It is a mathematical anomaly that Albert Einstein called one of the greatest miracles known to man, the most powerful force in the universe. Decades earlier, Benjamin Franklin defined its exact function. Money makes money, and the money that money makes money. For Ben's engine to work, he needs a practical, real-world application. In this simulation, his daily dollar is routed into the S&P 500, an index comprising 500 large, publicly traded U.S. companies. Looking at the performance of the S&P 500 between 1950 and 2024, the index delivered an average return rate of 9.48% across a 75-year period. Ben is not relying on luck, timing, or a sudden market boom. He has simply plugged his micro-decisions into a historically verifiable mathematical machine. By year 10 of the simulation, the results appear underwhelming. Ben's daily deposits have grown, but the balance does not reflect the promised explosion of wealth. This is where human behavioral psychology conflicts with the math. We expect linear, immediate results for our discipline. When the growth remains slow and incremental, the brain registers it as a failure. Meanwhile, Alex feels vindicated. Spending his dollar provided him with a tangible, immediate daily reward over those same 3,650 days, while Ben's sacrifice looks largely negligible. This precise 10-year plateau operates as a psychological trap. It is the exact point where the vast majority of people abandon the compounding engine, walking away just before the mathematical curve begins to bend. This chart shows the trajectory of Ben's portfolio. As we fast forward through year 20 and approach year 30, the math shifts. The accumulated returns are now large enough to generate their own independent returns, forcing the curve upward. Pushing the simulation through year 40 and into year 50, the compounding effect becomes violently explosive. The interest generated in a single year now eclipses decades of his initial contributions. At the end of the 50-year timeline, the discrepancy is locked in. Ben has accumulated a massive six-figure fortune entirely from setting aside $1 a day. Alex, pinned to the baseline, possesses nothing. The invisible math was functioning perfectly the entire time. It systematically rewarded Ben's endurance while punishing Alex's demand for instant gratification. With the mechanics of the engine proven, we can manipulate the core variable to see how the system handles larger inputs. This chart compares 50-year outputs across different daily contribution levels. Bumping the investment from $1 up to $5 generates a proportionally larger sum. Scaling that contribution to $10 and then $20 produces extreme multi-million-dollar outcomes that completely dwarf the original baseline. The strategy operates on a sliding, infinitely scalable spectrum. It proves that anyone can achieve life-changing wealth simply by identifying the highest daily number they can consistently sustain. The simulation exposes the raw mechanics of this engine, which is fueled by a resource far more finite than currency: time. The mathematics dictate a harsh reality. A 10-year delay in starting the compounding process permanently cuts your potential final outcome in half. Decades of consistent, microscopic discipline dictate the final outcome, regardless of a person's starting income. The ultimate question is not whether you can afford to give up $1 a day. It is whether you can survive the catastrophic financial cost of waiting to start.